the group healings, and that this is a new addition, right? In the last few years,
Yeah, again, there's a lot. I know this is a stretch for certain people, but I mean, if you have brain and heart coherence, then you have energy. And so I started looking for the data on really what it says about like living organisms, right? And most people think when you see like Kirlian photography or you look at electromagnetic fields around living organisms, you would think that the living organism is creating that electromagnetic field, like it's emanating this field. So there was research done in Yale University in the 40s, and
Harold Sexton Burr.
Yeah, the information was so exciting because this researcher discovered that people who had certain patterns in their field had uterine cancer, right? And every single woman that had uterine cancer had this very specific pattern in their electromagnetic field. But there were certain women that had no uterine cancer, but had the pattern in the field. And every single one of those women that had a pattern in the field ultimately developed uterine cancer. So he said, oh my God, I got this backwards. I thought that it was the living organism that was creating the field. No, it's actually the field that's creating the living organism. If I change the information in the field, can I change the destiny of that health condition, the three-dimensional reality, right? So we all emit a field, and the information in the field of every single person is information that ultimately becomes matter, right? Mm-hmm. So what if you could change the information, train people with brain and heart coherence to lay a person down, get people to know how to get beyond themselves, connect to that unifying field of energy, and lay down their character, become no body, no one, no thing, nowhere, no time, become pure consciousness, disinvest all of your attention and energy out of this three-dimensional world, and then open your heart. And if you could open your heart, energy makes it to the heart. We have data to show it goes right to the brain, 100% of the time. If you could direct that energy through your hands into the field of the person, and you had 6, 7, or 8 people doing that, if you understood, if you changed the pattern, the information in the field with coherence, could you change the person's health condition? So it was theoretical when we first started out, and then we started seeing, really dramatic changes. Really dramatic changes in people's health, like immediate changes in cancers, all kinds of health conditions, everything. And then we started seeing the healers that were actually administering the healing were getting healed too. In fact, we had a lady on the stage who had really serious trifacial neuralgia, or trigeminal neuralgia it was. She said to the audience that the pain was so bad that when my family members and friends asked me how I was doing, I'd say I want someone to cut my head off. She could not get away from the pain. That's how severe it was, and constant. She did everything. She flew to other countries. She tried every therapy. She tried nothing. And so she did the coherence healing, and she said, I never felt so much love in my life, and then all of a sudden, I haven't had any pain since. So you see that effect as well, right? So energy is energy, right? Mm-hmm. So we started seeing dramatic changes in people's health, and then we thought, okay, let's scale the model a little greater. Do you really need to be in the room? If you're in the quantum, there's no separation. Can we hit a target? Can we hit a picture? Give us a picture, give us a person, and let's collectively see if we could do it remotely and not even be in the room. Mm-hmm. Our data is unbelievable, and we had so many incredible changes in people's health, and we just did a preliminary study with autistic kids. Now, if you know autism, you know that no occupational therapy really makes much of a difference. No physical therapy, no speech therapy, maybe some behavior modification therapy, maybe a little bit. Not a lot of changes happen with autism. In the first study we did with, I think it was 12 boys, young boys, 12 coherence healings over the course of 6 weeks, 2 a week. If I read you the testimonials from their parents, like my son is speaking in complete sentences. His father came home and he hugged him. He jumped on the trampoline today. He acted in the school play. He wanted to walk to school by himself. He's no longer wetting the bed. He's no longer defecating in the bed. He's having normal bowel movements. He's no longer stiffing. He's no longer banging his head. He's communicating with me. He's napping during the day. He's sleeping through the night. These are the effects, and they're not even in the room.
Remote coherence healing.
And so we have data now that shows that, wow, the probability that this is something really profound is happening. is off the chart. We just looked at our PTSD data in the study that we did in remote coherence healing again, and 89% of the people in the study, 89% of the people with post-traumatic stress disorder diagnosed PTSD, 89% had a dramatic response for the positive, and they're not even in the room. So we've seen the coherence healings. Now we're looking at the genetic changes. We're looking at blood plasma. We're looking at what's happening. We're studying the data, and we see that the greatest changes that take place in people's biology, both healer and healee, happen during the coherence healings. Now, we have these machines called random event generators. And what they are, they're sophisticated coin tosses. And if you toss a coin, the more you toss it, the more it's going to be 50-50, heads or tails. That's this. So this machine, this program, is randomly producing zeros and ones. It'll go 1 1 1 0 0 1 1 0 0 0 0 1 1 0 0. It'll just kind of be back and forth. But for the most part, it's 50-50. Mm-hmm. The more you toss it, the more it's 50-50. So it tosses a coin 1,000 times in a second. And they're very sensitive to electromagnetism, to energy. So we set these in the room, and several of them in the room, and then during the coherence healings, if no one's in the room, you'll see it just kind of fluctuating just around the midline normal. The moment those collective networks come into room with brain and heart coherence, and the coherence healing starts, all of a sudden you see 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. It just keeps going right out off the scale. And now random events are becoming less random and more intentional. Okay, so I said to scientists, what is it? What do you think that is? Because it happens every single time we do the coherence healing. They say we don't know. So then we decided, okay, let's do it again, but let's wrap one of them in a Faraday cage, which is copper and nickel, heavy metals, right? Insulate it. Like if you go to the from electromagnetism, you go to get an X-ray. You go to the dentist, they put the lead thing around you. You go get an X-ray. Sometimes they put a copper little shield over your ovaries, or you get the idea. It blocks electromagnetism. So we insulated one of them, and we did the coherence healings. And of course, the ones that were in the room that were not covered, you saw them move out of scale, out of normal, just right outside of normal. But the one that was wrapped in the metal behaved just like the one as if no one was in the room. So we said, oh my God, this definitely must be some type of electromagnetic frequency, and somehow it's being insulated because now it no longer works, right? But the other ones in the room were off the scale. So all this is kind of crazy, exciting stuff. If you take people, a group of people, and you put cancer cells in an incubator, in a petri dish, in a lab, and then some across at the Veterans Hospital at UCSD, a group of people, and you have them focus on the cells getting better, just sending them the intent of getting better with love. All the healthy cells, nothing changes because they're healthy. Mm-hmm. But the cancer cells that are in the petri dish have the same drop as if the ones that had the change in the blood plasma, the information in the blood plasma that went down 70%. You see the same type of changes remotely. So the information is no longer in the material world. It's no longer in the blood. It's no longer a chemical. The information is traveling through frequency, because frequency carries information, and you're seeing these same biological effects on the cells at a remote location. It gets crazy and insane.
Thank you for listening to the Heal Podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. And please rate and review us so that we can grow and reach more people. Thanks so much, and be well.